The development of trade cities on the Swahili coast of East Africa. Picture yourself standing on the shores of the Indian Ocean, where the warm breeze carries the scent of spices and the sound of bustling markets fills the air. It's here, along the Swahili coast, that a unique fusion of African, Arab, Persian, and Indian influence gave rise to some of the most dynamic trade cities in history. Our story begins over a millennium ago, in a time when the Indian Ocean served as a bustling maritime highway, connecting distant lands and fostering a vibrant exchange of ideas, goods, and cultures. From the 8th century onwards, Arab and Persian traders ventured southward along the coast of East Africa, establishing thriving trading outposts known as Swahili city-states. These city-states, such as Kilwa, Mombasa, Zanzibar, and Mogadishu, quickly became hubs of commerce, attracting merchants from across the known worlds. Here, ivory, gold, timber, and spices from the African interior were exchanged for luxury goods, such as textiles, porcelain, glassware, and precious metals from the Middle East, India, and China. The Swahili coast was not merely a center of trade, but also a melting pot of cultures and ideas. Over the centuries, Swahili city-states developed a unique blend of African, Arab, and Indian architectural styles, languages, religions, and social customs, creating a rich tapestry of diversity and innovation. As we delve deeper into the history of these trade cities, we witness the ebb and flow of empires, the rise and fall of dynasties, and the resilience of coastal communities in the face of political upheaval and external pressures. Despite the challenges they faced, the Swahili city-states continued to thrive, adapting to changing economic and geopolitical conditions, and playing a vital role in shaping the course of history in the Indian Ocean region. The development of trade cities along the Swahili coast in East Africa brought about both positive and negative consequences, shaping the region's socio-economic and cultural landscape in profound ways. Perhaps the most significant positive outcome of the development of the trade cities along the Swahili coast was the economic prosperity they fostered. These cities served as a vital hub of maritime trade, facilitating the exchange of goods and commodities between Africa, the Middle East, India, and China. The influx of trade and commerce stimulated economic growth, created employment opportunities, and generated wealth for merchants, artisans, and local communities. The Swahili coast's trade cities were melting pots of cultures, languages, and religions where people from diverse backgrounds interacted and exchanged ideas. Arab, Persian, Indian, and African traders brought with them their respective cultural practices, traditions, and beliefs, leading to a rich tapestry of cultural diversity and syncretism. This cultural exchange contributed to the development of a distinct Swahili culture characterized by its unique blend of African, Arab, and Indian influences. The establishment of trade cities along the Swahili coast led to the growth and development of urban centers with sophisticated infrastructure and architecture. Cities such as Kilwa, Mombasa, and Zanzibar boasted impressive stone buildings, mosques, and palaces, reflecting the wealth and prosperity generated by maritime trade. Urbanization brought about improvements in sanitation, water management, and public amenities, enhancing the quality of life for residents and visitors alike. The wealth and influence of Swahili trade cities often translated into political stability and diplomatic relations with neighboring states and empires. Many city-states along the Swahili coast established alliances and trade agreements with Arab and Persian merchants, as well as with powerful inland kingdoms such as Great Zimbabwe and the Kingdom of Mudapar. These diplomatic ties helped safeguard trade routes and promote regional stability, fostering an environment conducive to economic growth and cultural exchange. One of the most significant negative consequences of the development of trade cities on the Swahili coast was the involvement of the trans-Saharan and Indian Ocean slave trade. Slavery was an integral part of the region's economy, with enslaved individuals captured from the African interior and sold in coastal markets to Arab, Persian, and Indian traders. The demand for slaves as laborers on plantations, in households, and as soldiers fueled the expansion of the slave trade, leading to widespread human suffering and exploitation. The growth of trade cities along the Swahili coast had adverse effects on the region's natural environment too. Deforestation, overfishing, and soil erosion were common consequences of urbanization and intensive agricultural practices associated with trade. Clearing land for settlements and agriculture, as well as harvesting timber for construction and shipbuilding, contributed to habitat destruction and loss of biodiversity, threatening the ecological balance of coastal systems. The economic prosperity generated by trade cities along the Swahili coast often resulted in social inequality and stratification within society. Wealthy merchants and ruling elites enjoyed privileged status and access to resources, while the majority of the population, including laborers, artisans, and peasants, faced economic hardship and exploitation. This disparity in wealth and power exacerbated social tensions and disparities, leading to conflicts and social unrest within urban centers. While the cultural exchange facilitated by trade cities contributed to the richness of Swahili culture, it also led to cultural assimilation and the erosion of indigenous traditions and languages. Arabization and Islamization were particularly prevalent among coastal communities, as Arab and Persian traders introduced Islam and Arabic as the lingua franca of trade. This cultural assimilation sometimes resulted in the loss of indigenous languages, customs, and belief systems, leading to cultural homogenization and the marginalization of indigenous identities. The development of trade cities along the Swahili coast in East Africa was shaped by the contributions of several notable individuals who played key roles in shaping the region's economy, culture, and society. Let's explore the lives and legacies of some of the most prominent figures associated with this historic phenomenon. Sultan Ali bin al-Hassan was a pivotal figure in the early development of trade cities along the Swahili coast. As the ruler of Kilwa, one of the most important trading ports in the region during the 10th century, Sultan Ali oversaw the expansion of maritime trade and the establishment of diplomatic relations with Arab and Persian merchants. Under his leadership, Kilwa became a thriving center of commerce and culture, attracting traders from across the Indian Ocean and fostering a cosmopolitan urban society. Ibn Battuta, a renowned Moroccan scholar and traveler, visited several Swahili trade cities during his extensive journeys across the Muslim world in the 14th century. His writings provide valuable insights into the economic, social, and cultural dynamics of Swahili urban centers during this period. Ibn Battuta's accounts of his travels offer a vivid depiction of the bustling markets, vibrant mosques, and diverse communities that characterized cities such as Mombasa, Malindi, and Lamu. Sultan Majid bin Said, also known as Said Majid, played a crucial role in the development of Zanzibar as a major trading hub in the 19th century. As the ruler of Zanzibar, Sultan Majid oversaw the expansion of the island's trade networks, particularly in the lucrative spice trade. Under his patronage, Zanzibar became a center of commerce, culture, and political power, attracting traders, settlers, and adventurers from across the Indian Ocean. Portuguese explorer Vasco da Gama's arrival on the Swahili coast in the late 15th century marked the beginning of European involvement in East African trade. Da Gama's voyages around the Cape of Good Hope opened up new sea routes to the Indian Ocean and challenged the dominance of Arab and Indian merchants in the region. Although his interactions with Swahili trade cities were brief, Vasco da Gama's expeditions laid the groundwork for subsequent European exploration and colonialization of East Africa. Sultan Bagashi bin Said, the son of Sultan Majid, played a significant role in the modernization and development of Zanzibar during the late 19th century. Under his rule, Zanzibar experienced rapid economic growth and urban expansion fueled by the export of cloves, ivory, and slaves. Sultan Bargasha's favorites to modernize the island's infrastructure, including the construction of a deep-water port and the introduction of steamships, transformed Zanzibar into a strategic gateway for international trade in the Indian Ocean. The development of trade cities along the Swahili coast in East Africa ultimately led to the establishment of a rich maritime trading network that connected East Africa with the wider Indian Ocean world. Over the centuries, these cities became vital hubs of commerce, culture, and exchange, attracting traders, merchants, and settlers from diverse backgrounds. While the decline of the Swahili city-states coincided with the arrival of European colonial powers in the region, their legacy endures in the form of cultural heritage, architectural landmarks, and linguistic influences that continue to shape the identity of coastal communities in East Africa. Today, the Swahili Coast remains an important cultural and historic region celebrated for its vibrant traditions, vibrant markets, and unique blend of African, Arab, and Indian influences.